Okay, hello everyone. This is our Tech Talk featuring Adnan Rafique, who is a multi-talented cloud security leader at Insight Enterprises. He specializes in cloud security architecture with a concept of shared responsibility model, and is committed to help organizations protect their digital infrastructure using AI and ML. He has experience in highly complex projects, including cloud migrations for top Fortune 500 companies, as well as leading teams to evaluate risks, articulate issues, and improve operational efficiencies. Through his iMentor Cloud Mentorship Program, Adnan is committed to educating the new generation of engineers, readying them with highly sought skills in today's tech industry. He speaks regularly in various technical conferences, conducts industry experts review interviews, and publishes his blog on exchangeitpro.com. From 2017 to 2019, he has been Microsoft MVP for Office 365 apps and service and is a Microsoft certified trainer. He has been on the board of Global IT Community Association and received many other awards and recognition from British Computer Society, IEEE, and NPA. Let us welcome Adnan Rafique for his Tech Talk today.
Thank you, IEEE URTC. Thank you, MIT. I'm glad for this opportunity to speak to the undergrads, the students who are future engineers. Somebody will be different roles, senior leadership, consultant, right? So it's a whole different career ahead of you. And lately, I would say for the last 3-4 months, I've started taking it seriously and see, okay, the gaps between the academia and the industry, especially when it comes to cloud. And I started doing these sessions. And since there's information overload and what feedback usually I get, okay, how do I start? What I'm supposed to be doing it? Because when you Google it, everybody's offering certifications and courses. You know, there's a ton of information available. So what I'll try doing my best is what these 30 minutes are for you. What's in it for you, not for me. I want to make sure if you have any questions, do type in. I'll try to answer. If not, then always will be available offline. And yeah, and that's absolutely the idea, is that to help you guys, pursuing your career in tech overall. Because, and then I'll explain it. Cloud computing is not the cloud itself. So many related industries are connected to it. So I hope in 30 minutes or less, I'll be able to summarize it. And I may ask some question during the, or if you have any questions. So we'll just move on. Yeah, so high level, always try to share where the market is going, because this is very important. From job point of view also, because if you do not know the market, then it's not really worth putting your investment and time learning those skills. So that's very important. A little bit, I'm not going to take much time here, but if you can find pretty much everything online. I have some mentorship program, which I really bring my experience and some other folks from the industry. That's there. Plus my recent article published at Microsoft TechNet day before yesterday. And a few months ago, I talked about work from home challenges and around security. That's just one, and on top of that, and I usually speak on a ton of these kind of events. So it all starts with what we are here, what you guys are here is about your career. So yeah, so don't mind. Let's say if I have 2-3 screens, so if I'm looking here and there, I really apologize, but I'll try to be focused in front of the camera. So career planning is important, and you already have your vision. That's why you are at MIT going to college. But again, you have that one piece of your vision. Hey, I want to be graduated from this college, and then this is the thing I'm thinking of. And you definitely have some things then where you want to take your career next. And that's why it's really important. Then how would you plan your career? And there's a lot of buzz going on: cloud computing, tech, and AI, machine learning, IoT, cybersecurity, you name it. And I literally can speak on all of these because they're all related. They're all related to cloud. These things didn't really exist before cloud. Apple app did not exist before 2007. Cloud itself was not there or booming up before 2011, even though AWS was there. but the penetration, the market started growing up after 2011. And I've been through it. I've seen it. I've been in the industry. So I've seen all those phases. And what makes the most sense with adoption, supply versus demand, then that really translates to the skills, and which I'll try to help you take away from this session today. That's the challenge, because one of the challenges that, okay, what am I supposed to be doing it, and how am I going to learn what kind of a skills? Okay, I'm going to college, and probably a student from universities like yours may get recruited from Google, Microsoft, AWS when you're about to be in your final year or final semester. But still, that's there. And what you should be doing next, is changing and all that. So you got to have that a clear vision, a clear a roadmap for your career. Okay, whether you pick any of these top Fortune 50 or 100 companies you want to work with, but still challenges are there. So being challenged is always good. That's why you need to work on that and take your career to the next level. And the market, which I will show you some slide. You need to know about the market. It's very, very important things, and I'll show where the companies are investing, what kind of money, and why. And it comes to the skill set, because the company is putting the money in. Why? Because they need skill set, and there's supply versus demand, and this skill shortage are there. So if you kind of understand this cycle, or this piece of this whole puzzle, and then you can really accelerate your career. Skills, you need to know what on demand are going to be in demand versus they may be in demand today, maybe not after 4 years, depending which semester or year you are in, right? So that really make a significant impact on your career, and this is very important. And the plan, you got to have a plan. Without plan, nothing works. So you got to have plan, and then more important thing, you need to execute the plan, whether it's every quarter, every 6 months, depending on your journey. Yeah, that slide, I put it because all I have explained in the previous slide deck, you can start your career either way, but ideally you want to hit right there, like the last icon where the arrow is hitting, where really you are focused and you're hitting there. But if you do not plan well, you could be skyrocketing career, but then it can be in a bad shape, and it can have ups and downs like a stock market. So that's really important. And that's where I think, in my opinion, you need to have some opportunities, do some networking. Industry experts can help you depending what you read. So that's beyond your technical skill. That's beyond your learning. That's if you want to achieve something extra, you got to do something extra. Let's put it this way. So that's how you can streamline your career path, basically. Market research, that's very important. If you see on the slide deck, this is pretty much a year or 2 years ago, but still not bad. I was not able to get the latest one, but it's even more than that because of the COVID, and I'll touch base on that, why. But if you look at this, Gartner is predicting, and this is already happening, is even has gone way up because of people working from home, and it has changed the way we work today in the last 6 months. And the companies has never planned, all these large companies for this work from home in 2020. Some company did have planned for work from home policies and improve their workforce remotely by 2025, some of them 2030. But things changed in the last 6 months, right? And that has gone way up exponentially for the adoption of cloud. Work from home is just not computer, but it's attached with so many stuff behind the scene, and security is one of them significant these days. And the platform we are using is communication. This is very important, video and audio and all that. That's another important thing. And then it's related to compliance, it's related to risk, cloud, they can support, it's a whole cycle there, so that's why these things are important. So if you look at the infrastructure as a service, so that's part of cloud. But in some cases in your career, if you go for cloud, you may not even have to work on infrastructure service. Like if you're using this example I'm presenting to you right now, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we had to have a Cisco telephony and install this setup and that stuff, the hardware and all that. Now with click of an app, I have state-of-the-art audio and video, and just voila, it's working. It's just in no more time. But imagine 15 years ago, it was not possible. But it's not just the app; it's underlying hardware, compute, GPU, CPU on the cell phones. My cell phones are faster than my computer these days, which used to be 10, 15 years ago. And it has a whole infrastructure behind which support the internet speed, the cloud services, you name it, internet at your home. So that's all part of the ecosystem. And that's why these companies are still investing a ton of money. If you go and check their data center, they're bigger than the football field. And each one of these companies, Microsoft or AWS or Google, they have like around the world 54 or 55 locations, so many data centers, and they have a ton of money to invest it for a reason. So when it comes to cloud, that's why the Gartner report shows that infrastructure was the very first component or a significant underlying infrastructure that to invest. And then there's a platform as a service and software as a service. So I'm not going to go into the details of all of these, but software as a service, I want to touch base. Again, the example I'm giving you now for video audio conference we have is software as a service. Your Google Apps and Google G Suite, what you use is a software as a service. Microsoft Office 365 is a software as a service. So you don't really set up those servers, it's all there. And then without that, once you have these capabilities all in the cloud, this is where you run your analytics, AI, machine learning, and all that good stuff. So here the public cloud server revenue, you may be interested or not, but I would highly recommend today a student should not ignore this, because when I was a college student, I never bothered. But now, if you really want to know where the market is going, and some student asks about the questions for the cloud adoption and all that, so this is the data which proves, okay, this is going up. There's a huge demand in the market. Now your question would be, hey Adnan, okay, now what am I supposed to be doing? You know that you're talking about cloud, market is there. Okay, guess what? I'm going to be graduating next year. What am I supposed to be doing? What skills? So let's talk about it. And in the meantime, if you have any question, just feel free to type in the chat box. And if I'm going fast, let me know. If not, then I'm good. I want to always have these two-way conversation. I don't mind. All right. So what we got here is your options. They are not all, but I put them on a high level, because you could end up, or you want to start your career in a digital transformation. You can be a DevOps engineer or an architect, cloud engineer and an architect. You can start your career in machine learning and AI, and also in cloud security. I did not put cybersecurity purposely. Cloud security, that's the future. But maybe it's a topic for another session to go into the details. But if you look at this, all is because of cloud. If you do not have compute and GPU and CPU, you cannot achieve any of these. So let's touch base a little bit on that. I want to start with, for example, DevOps. DevOps is an area where you are coming either from a programming background or a systems engineering background. And when it comes to cloud, you have to either or skills. So if you're coming from development background, you got to have some basic skills for system. So you can automate the process. You learn scripting. And if you're coming from engineering background, so you got to learn again some skills, scripting related, and then you want to learn the automate. Because if you work for any of these companies in their infrastructure as a service, for example, they do not expect you to spin up manual setup of the environment. They want things to be automated, and this is where the jobs are as a DevOps engineer. But again, fundamental skills are there. You need to know the networking and operating system, basic TCP/IP, and all that stuff. This is a mandatory. And then you learn those scripting, and there are some tools which you can learn. So basically, the job is you automating the process. You're getting the job done 30 days into 3 days, for example. That's what it is. And it's a huge demand, huge. And it does not end here, DevOps. It's like a Go Dev SecOps, which is Dev security operation, where you need to secure the code. So that's another area is growing. So, yep. And now let's move on to the next one, which is cloud engineer architect, which is very hot. Everyone is talking about this, AWS, Associate, Microsoft Azure engineer architect, cloud engineer architect, Google, and all that. So let's understand what it is, right? And what kind of job role is that, and why market is hiring these people. And even some cases you don't even need a college degree, because the demand is so high. They don't want to wait 4 years if you can learn this skill in the 2 years. But that's not. But don't take it as okay, college degree and versus a skill. I'm not going to debate on that. They're both valid and all that. But but I'm saying you can still develop the skills when you're in the college. And then for this, I'll tell you later what are the basic steps to start with. But again, let's go back to these vendor, right? Microsoft, Azure, or AWS, or Google, and how you can start your career there. So basically, demand is coming from the adoption. One of the reason is, take an example for this COVID-19. Imagine a company did not have any cloud presence 6 months ago. Now, no matter what, they have to use cloud services for the team meeting, for the video conferencing. So that's the very basic example. Other examples are around companies are reducing their data centers to save cost and for so many other reasons. Now, and also the scalability what you get in cloud is really not possible in your traditional data center. So let me give you an example. If a company needs to deploy for their marketing campaign 300 web services, so usually on traditional data center model, they will buy the hardware and software and do it, and the project is over after 6 months. 6 months later, they don't need all these 3 servers, 300 compute and resources and all that. It's all gone, wasted. They don't need it. That's where cloud comes into action, or where you can automate the process. You scale up, you scale down, you scale out, you scale in. It's just like an Uber model, pay as you go. If you need a fleet of 10 cars, you rent them. After next day, you don't need the car. If you're going to the airport, you don't need a car. So pay as you go model, like an Airbnb kind of thing, right? So that's why company tends to go to the cloud, and that's where all clouds are good depending on their leadership, depending on the business need, which cloud they choose to go with. But all these major platforms are good where you can start your career learning the skill set in that area. So any question, anyone? All right. Second, water break. So I want to talk about, let's say, machine learning and AI, right? And in fact, in my profile also mentioned some AI stuff. So I'm using AI stuff to securing the infrastructure, so securing our empire. For example, security cannot be done these days when you're in cloud manually. You have to be proactive. So give an example, during COVID, there is an increase for more than 600% in cyber attacks, and 90% of them are related to credential leak. And there's a motive. Credential leak means somebody steals your user ID and password. So somebody knows your password, they are after you. There's a motive. They want to steal your bank statement. In businesses, they want to steal your sales data. All that kind of information which can hurt the business, whether it's a bank, retail, you name it. So how do you protect it? Because when you go to the cloud, you put username and password. If a credential is leaked through dark web or whatever, yeah, and then there you go. That's the biggest problem you can have. The most destructive thing can happen to any company. So there are controls available where you can invoke alerts. Hey, if this happened, I want to make sure you verify who you are. Can you put a second form of authentication? So you implement multi-factor authentication. So your password is fine, but I did not see you logging in on Saturday at 4 p.m., but you work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So the system is intelligent enough to make a call to prompt you and make sure you validate your second form of authentication, which is multi-factor authentication, right? It could be your face, It could be an app, like authenticator app, something like that. So that's kind of artificial intelligence runs behind it. That's the one scenario. What if I'm in Jersey today, and if I happen to sign in from Paris in next 3 hours? It's impossible. So that's an impossible scenario, impossible travel scenario. If it happens, invoke this alert. So there's a machine learning and AI behind it. This is available for all major platforms, whether I pretty much do a lot of Microsoft, but AWS and Google and their third-party identity provider and RSA and all that. They are leaders available in the market. They have, so you basically go and deploy and learn how to do this. And you can also teach the machine. In some cases, there is a false positive. So just an example I wanted to share where AI and machine learning happens. We see a lot of AI machine learning in the ads and all that related to cars. Maybe it can be health industry, but also in security, right? So it's just the start. So there's going to be a lot of potential, a lot of opportunities where you can be creative, companies can be creative, come with different AI and machine learning models. Now we go to the security, and I mentioned cloud security. So if you remember 2 minutes ago, what I've said is that identity. So when you're in the cloud, you're not talking about typical security, which is cybersecurity, which means if I have to work from my home, I will dial in a VPN connection. I have a token. I log into my company's network. Then I blah, blah, blah. I start working on this. With cloud model, I bypass everything. I'm in the cloud natively. So I go to my portal, www.portal.office365.com. I log in there. There's no firewall, no VPN, no nothing. And I put my credential and get prompted for a multi-factor authentication. I put those requirements, could be a 6-digit, could be an SMS, could be an authenticator app, then I'm logged in. So that's where cloud security is different than traditional security. And that's where people working from home, for example, Microsoft Teams, or you could take an example for Zoom, I don't know, but in Microsoft Teams, same thing. You can allow your people to work from anywhere, right? Like in Zoom, you can have the calls, or maybe this platform which is using it to collaborate and communicate. But at the same time, you can work on the Word document and all that. So that's the collaboration, real-time collaboration you have. But you need security. You don't want your data to be leaked. You don't want that video session is recording and got leaked like what happened with the Zoom. So that's where cloud security is totally different, because your data is in the cloud. So how do you secure that? You encrypt it. You encrypt in the transit when it's traveling. You encrypt it at the rest, which is in the data center. You have those disks. It has to be encrypted. So you encrypt the data there. My laptop, I'm using a Mac. I have a Mac encrypted disk. So if it gets stolen, I'm fine because it's encrypted. So that's changes when you go to the cloud. Cloud model is different when it comes to cloud security. It's a whole big new topic and a huge topic. And that's I made publication on TechNet Microsoft. How can you work securely from home? So let's move on. I want to touch base on the service model, and then I'll touch base last few minutes on some of the certification career path. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to type them. Service model, I want to jump. Cloud computing definition from the NIST and ISO you can find on Google. I'm not going to go into the details, but in a nutshell, it's about elasticity. The core concept is elasticity. It's scale up, it's scale down, it's scale in, it's scale out, and you pay as you go kind of model. I need the compute resources, I'll use it. If I don't need it. So I pay for what I use. That's in a nutshell. So ISPaaS, I told you before, so all these web services, app, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, is all in software as a service. And I want to skip quick because we have only 5 minutes. I want to give you some starting career guidelines in that. So what I'm going to do is that, yeah, that's. I'll leave some information later, but we can go back to this slide. You should be able to see my screen. Let me know. Yep. So that's Microsoft certification career path. We don't have much time, but again, anyone want to learn the basics, Azure fundamental. If you want to be certified, go ahead. Very simple theory, but it will give you each and every services being offered in that cloud platform from Microsoft to understand the basics. And Microsoft time and time offer free training from their portal for everyone. So usually it's $100, but sometimes they announce it and it goes so fast. They have 8 hours training free, so they do 3-4 times a year. But you can't go wrong with that. To learn if Microsoft career path for the basics, same thing applies to fundamentals in Office 365, which can lead you towards digital transformation, technical engineering, architecture side of it. And there are so many others. Let me share one more, which is, or two more, let's say, talk about AWS. So if you look at AWS, yeah. So again, whichever cloud platform you go, you will see a role-based path. It's not anymore MCSE kind of thing. You go with the role-based path. What role-based career path you want to choose or select from, and then based on that, they have these things available. You want to be a practitioner, more of a developer, DevOps engineer, IT operations, data scientist, right? And then you can plan your career accordingly, or take that certification path for your career and can take, it's not something you think will happen overnight, but again, a career, you have to think anywhere something, in my opinion, 3 to 5 years to get one of those, learn it. And if you are working with this good, if you happen to work with Google, Microsoft, Amazon, of course, there's more chances for you. And if you're already certified, it can add more value, but it depends. You don't have to be certified, but at least you know how cloud works, what shared responsibility model is, basic things. It will literally help you even in your interview as well. So pick anything, pick the fundamental, pick the basics one, which will get you ready for your hiring, and then from there you can start exploring more and more opportunities, regardless, data scientist, AI, ML, which career, right? And then security and all this. You can take any of these three cloud providers career path. You cannot go wrong with them. Huge demand in the market. And I think if there are any questions, I think I'm 2 minutes over. I apologize for that. But yeah, I think I'll just share my contact details.
Yep. We do have a break right after this from 4:30 to 5 o'clock. And I believe you can go do networking if you're a student. And yeah, and at 5 o'clock, there will be a graduate school admissions for MIT session. So thank you, Adnan.
Yep.
And everybody enjoy your break.
Yep.